What cheer, y'all? Well, let's continue on with our Preakness contender profiles and talk about Pay Billy. He is the local entrant into the Preakness, and a lot of times they do have a Maryland bred, or they have a horse who runs on the Maryland circuit to run the Preakness, and probably the one most notable, I would say, a couple of them that I recall were Red Bullet, who won the race in, I think it was 2000 or 2001. And then there was another one, Scrappy T, who ran in the 2005 Preakness 20 years ago, and that was notable because of Fleet Alex won the race, although he almost went down in the stretch because Scrappy T on the lead wouldn't get out of his way. So they're not to be discounted. A lot of times they will put up a good fight and run a good race. So it's Pay Billy is one that looking at so far is kind of interesting, and he's trained by Michael Gorham, one of our old Suffolk Downs trainers from up in Boston. And Raul Mena is the jockey, and he's been with him all the way. Pay Billy just won the Federico Tesio at Laurel, and that's how he got into the race. And we'll take a look at his pedigree, and we'll see he's by Improbable, who, I remember when he was running in the Derby, wasn't too keen on him because he's by City Zip. But he turned out to be a pretty good horse by the end of the year, and I believe he won the Breeders' Cup Classic. So City Zips usually were about a mile and an eighth tops, but Improbable may be able to, may convey a little bit more stamina than that. Harlington's Rose by Harlington on the unbridled line, that's plenty of stamina there. And you look at the conduit profile, and it is skewed towards stamina, 14 to 12 as opposed to speed. So chances are, mile and 3/16, I think he'll be okay. So we're not going to worry about it from that perspective. And actually, genetic strength value score, he's actually got a better one than a couple of the more prominent contenders in here, which is kind of interesting. That's the GSV up at the top in the middle of the top bar in the middle there. It's not as accurate a number as it used to be, but it is interesting that his score is a little higher than some of the others. Now we'll take a look at the PPs here, and you'll see one thing about this horse is he wins. He's got 4 wins and 8 starts and 6 out of 8 in the money. So you'll note that at 2 he was a little shaky, but at 3 years old he really seems to have blossomed, and he doesn't have the classic form of progression, but he's seen, he's definitely improved since he was 2, and he's reached a higher level. I would say he's probably, more like an ungraded stakes, which is what he's been running in, or perhaps a grade 3 would be the top end for him. But one thing that you see is in his 3-year-old campaign, I mean, he's 4 out of 5, and he's got 1 second. So, or rather, he's 3 out of 4 with 1 second, and he got another win late in his 2-year-old campaign. But he's been a late bloomer, we can say that. I watched the Private Terms, and I watched the Federico Tesio, and he runs just fine. I mean, he's a very professional runner. I mean, he's very mature. He rated off the leaders until it was time to go, and then he closed very well. And you see one thing that's notable is that you'll see his late fraction got better as the distance got longer in the Tesio, while his pace numbers got a little lower. So the good news is that he can adjust to the longer distance. Excuse me. I think this is a horse who basically can run his race, but the problem is it won't be near fast enough. Now, if you look at the times of the Private Terms, even go take all 3, the Miracle Wood, the Private Terms, and the Tesio, slow, slower, slowest. Slow. 152 and 3 for a mile and an eighth just isn't going to cut it. And now that we know that journalism is in the field, That's going to be an awful tall order for him to match those type of speed numbers. He'll be coming, they may take him, they may just say, hey, put him in the back and just see if he can suck up for third. It would certainly be possible. We've got a fair amount of speed in this race. And so if he lingers and stays out of trouble, he could get into the money, but he would certainly need a quantum leap forward if he was going to compete at the grade 1 level. And just a little side thing. You see the race ratings there of 115 and 115, 114. Well, just as a comparison, the Arkansas and Louisiana prep races, which were the lower rated of the Derby preps, were all rated at 116. And the lowest, I believe, may have been the Virginia Derby, which was 115. And you saw how American Promise did in the Derby. So take that into account. And, it's going to be a tall order for Pay Billy. Well, look at the first take. What's the positive? He's consistent. You got to give him that. I mean, he wins, and he runs his race. He's professional. What's the negatives? He's not fast enough. That's it. He just isn't fast enough, and there's no indications that he is ready to take that jump forward, which would make him a competitor in this race. And certainly class. He hasn't run against anybody of note. He did run against a horse who ran in the Peter Pan yesterday, whose name escapes me, and that one was up the track. Didn't do much running. Was way the hell back, and that's the way the horse runs, and didn't factor in anything. So, the fact that this horse doesn't have to be on the lead is something. You can take that, but this horse looks to me kind of like built. He's going to run his race. He's going to try, but it isn't going to be good enough, and that's kind of what I get from Pay Billy. But if you're looking for a horse at big odds who can maybe pony up for third late, it might be your horse. So I hope that helps you with thinking about Pay Billy and how you assess him in comparison to the rest of the Preakness contenders. Certainly the race dynamics are very different now that journalism is in the race. This was a pretty competitive field, I thought. And now with him in there, and if Sandman comes in, then it's, then it becomes a completely different thing altogether. But I think we all know who we're liking to take the Preakness. If you do like content like this, of course, please like and subscribe. And again, thanks to all of you who have grown our community and continue to make comments on our posts. We always appreciate that. Love it. Keep it up. We'll have more content. We'll do all the contender profiles. The last ones will be the ones who ran in the Derby. I don't know that we cover them pretty thoroughly for the Derby, but maybe a refresher, and we'll talk about how they ran in the Derby and what we learned from it. That might be something we'll add in. We're going to try to do our elements of handicapping for the Preakness. It won't be easy for me this week. Time is kind of tight, but we're going to try. At the very least, we'll have our full card selections, an individual post on the Preakness itself, and breaking it down, handicapping it. And we'll have best bets, value plays, and the sequences from Pimlico on Saturday. So you'll definitely have that. We'll also have a post on the Black Eyed Susan. So there's plenty more content coming from Right at the Wire, so stay tuned. That's it from here. I'll talk to you soon, and until then, be well.